Hey, and welcome back to What a Story. Today, we have a Toronto comedian named, and I'm going to screw this up, Dair Shendale.
You did great, Dave. Dair Shendale. Good job.
Yes.
thank
All right. So,
you. Thank you
Dair,
for having me.
you're welcome. And hey, you're a comedian. How did you get into it?
Yes.
How long you been?
Okay, so that's sort of a two-parter. I first did my first set was when I was 19 years old. So we're
Oh,
talking 30 years ago. Yeah, it's been a minute. And I did it out of spite. I did it because my best friend said I wasn't funny. And I said, "You're the only one who doesn't laugh at my material." So I went to Yuck Yucks for their amateur night. After my set, the manager called me over and said, "That was your first set?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That was pretty good." I looked at my friend and I'm like, and I didn't go back. Now, I should, in my defense, at the time, I was doing sales presentations for a job. So I was already speaking and doing jokes and getting paid already. So had I not been doing that, I probably would have continued. But the problem is you don't stop thinking about jokes. If you're a comedian, you continue to think about bits. I started writing down those bits, and once they're written down, they're actual stuff. So a few years back, they opened up an open mic around the corner from me. Didn't have much of an excuse. Went out and well, I've been doing 6 to 8 shows, hosts, or mics per week for the last couple of years.
now, is there a big difference from getting paid to speak to people to getting a ticket or paid in exposure to perform?
Well, I mean, I guess you have to set your expectations and understand at what point in your career you are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice to assume you're going to get paid. That's a wonderful concept, but I do believe that I mean, at some point, if you're
Yeah.
just getting paid in exposure, then guess what? You're not good enough to make it to that next level.
Yeah.
You have to be honest about that. But if you are continuing to grow in both exposure naturally, you're growing as an artist, you're getting better, you're getting sharper, well, then you've got something to work towards. And I think that's something that you have to be very, very self-critical. Because everyone else will say, "Oh yeah, good set, high five," or fist bump. They're not going to give you really the steps you need to do to improve. And I believe I found out something recently, David, and I did not know this. Apparently, hard work pays off. Who knew? Yeah, no. I mean this legitimately because I've been described as being one of the hardest working men in comedy. And this is confusing for me because not once in my entire life have I ever been described as hardest working man in insert I wouldn't have made your top 10 list. So
Okay.
I've obviously found a passion. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
get it.
here we are.
I totally agree with you. See, I got my big break is when I left dealing with the comedy scene and started opening for punk bands in Vancouver.
Cool.
And they paid me and they wanted me. So I understand what you're saying. So apparently you have a story. What's your story?
Um, my centers around my tattoo.
Okay.
At the end of my story, I will tell you what it is and where it is. So, I was walking down the street having a pity party. You know what a pity party is?
Oh, yeah.
This is for those who don't or listening to this, where you're having a boo hoo, why me, Lord moment, something wrong in your life, and you're like, oh God, why me? It's called a pity party. So while I was in the middle of truly kind of pathetic moment, coming towards me was someone in an electric wheelchair. And it was a regular electric wheelchair, David. It was one of the palsy situations with the bent hand and the joystick going along. So you can call it an awakening. You can an awareness. You can call it receiving the biggest slap of all time because this was fate looking at me going, hey, schmuck, the biggest problem in my life, the biggest problem in my life at that moment that I was bemoaning and whining about compared to this person just getting dressed, nothing. And it was just that crystallizing moment of suck it up, not just suck it up, Nancy, a realized recognition for how lucky and truly blessed my life is. Like you do the quick tally of, so let me get straight. You were born in Toronto, Canada, great city, to two parents who loved you. You weren't beaten unnecessarily as a child. Wait, you went to sleepover summer camp? Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you look like this, and you're a good-looking, healthy male. Come on, you've won the genetic lottery. You're the luckiest son of a bitch in the. Shut up. So I'm not saying. I guess my mantra and my belief became, I'm not saying don't deal with whatever problem that you're dealing with. Ask yourself, first off, one simple question. 10 years from now, will this problem matter?
Yeah.
And come on, we already know the answer. 99.999% of the time, the answer is no, it won't. So I'm not saying don't deal with whatever problem, situation, dilemma, issue, crisis that you're faced with. I'm simply saying that big picture, grander scheme of things, it's probably not that big of a deal. And you have to recognize how blessed and lucky the positives in your life that there are. And because of those two recognitions and the mental really of every time, if you really, every problem, you go, come on, 10 years from now, it's going to matter. At some point in time, it does become a little water off the duck's back. I'm not saying don't be immune to it, but just big picture, recognize it's a problem. You don't need to freak out, move on. So to acknowledge how blessed I am and how much I really, truly am thankful for everything. You have no idea how grateful I am. There's an expression, David, you might have heard it, where you're so lucky you have a tattoo of a horseshoe. Sorry, the expression is you're so lucky you have a horseshoe stuck up ass. Yeah, you already know where this is going. I have a tattoo of a horseshoe over here on my bum that says, of course, by the way, it's facing up, so we're clear. You don't want the luck to drip off. And across the top, it says, lucky me.
All right.
That is pretty much that is pretty much the story. I mean, because when you ask me what story would I want to tell, for a brief moment, it's difficult because I've been so I was child actor. So 10 years of doing commercials and television. I lived in Mexico for 2 years. I was a professional poker player for 3 years. I've been a stripper, like cool shit. So I really didn't know what to talk about, but I would try and explain why I'm really so happy. Okay. And that's why.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm now with that short, brief history that you've been through, like your life. I'm now thinking your comedy is very good and very perspective. Like you have had this life that you can draw on for your comedy, which is really cool.
I mostly the majority of my comedy is very storytelling based,
and that's good.
I don't know about you, but getting older, you don't remember things as well to remember a story about an actual event that occurred. Well, that's easy. Yeah. Judge Judy. Do you know who Judge Judy is?
Yep.
Judge Judy. Yeah. Okay, I learned from Judge Judy. Do you know what's easy to remember, sir? Do you know what's easy to remember? The truth, sir. The truth.
The truth. All right. So, Dair, if people want to stalk you, what's your socials?
You can find me on Instagram. It's Dair Shendale, not like I dare you, Dair. Shendale is Shendale, Dair Shendale. And I look forward to seeing you guys. Right, Thank you for having me so much, David. This is so much fun.
Thank you. And thank you. You're more than welcome to come back. Thank you, Dair, for sharing your story. And I will see you in the Toronto comedy scene.
Have yourself a great day.